boring storyline to look at when you come onto the world stage and you're playing some teams that are some of the very, very solid teams in Europe. An Eternal Fire team that recently didn't do too badly in Republic League, I believe it was. But we head into the first round here. A bit of a overlay bug, I'm assuming. Pretty sure we're not going to witness a 4v5 in a conference game. That would be something. However, initial creep through towards stairs, through middle from Eternal Fire, looking for some duels to be taken. Boost up. Be kept in tow by Sicko if it does come out.
Yeah, we're going to wait for it. Woxic waiting for the smoke as well to go on through. Sicko just making sure doesn't hit him in the noggin, but it is going to be the mid creep up from Eternal Fire. They all managed to start off with the frag and up over into the B-bomb site as well. They starting to obliterate the Renegades. It's just going to be down to Malta, a hit and a smoke in his pocket, but 1 versus 5. Yeah, this is difficult.
Yeah, it was a pretty terrible case of timing. I think Inns and Sicko in towards middle really wanted to rely on that crossfire, and Sicko kind of fumbles his movement a little bit, and it all goes downhill from there. A complete clean sweep there from Eternal Fire. Very, very nice opening pistol round on this T side to kick things off, and do believe that they will be doing quite a good job on the T side of Vertigo. It's the kind of map that seems like it should play very well to their style. They do play at times a little bit more individualistic. The riflers and the star players on this Eternal Fire roster quite free to go and take duels, to go and take space on the map. And Vertigo is definitely the kind of map over towards ramp, scaffold, middle, even pushes over towards B stairs on the lurk if you're aggressive on the T side or boosts up to try and find picks. These are the kind of plays that I'm keeping my eye on, and I'm watching Eternal Fire, where they have these very, very sharp riflers that can definitely open up rounds on critical junctures, critical parts of the map.
Yeah, well, a quick pistol for them does, by the look of things, mean a pause at the moment. So we'll just sit pretty for the time being, collect our thoughts. Of course, you know, we talk about the lineups that we're going to be seeing. It will be really cool to see how Alistair is going to go with that AWP against Woxic a little later. He's been absolutely stellar. You know, you cast your mind back towards Nuke that we saw. Just frags coming through for Eternal Fire.
Well, Renegades into the force here. Alistair keeping $900 in the bank account in case this doesn't go well. Looking towards round number 4, he still wants to have that little bit of extra cash for the AWP fund. Through middle, instant dink onto Sicko. He just not had any luck in this part of the map, the opening parts of the pistol or this round. Eternal Fire, off the back of getting that, being quite happy to continue pushing the issue.
Yeah, rotations already for Renegades as well. In's going to be making his merry way over towards the B side. It looks like a copy-paste round for Eternal Fire at the moment. Still spreading out through towards mid. Just using a little bit of this util.
Could get troublesome for them, though. If they commit up over the jump up, we've got so many players over here. Inns is straight under that boost. You can see Malta kind of walking around in the smoke. And this is the exact kind of angle where pistols can be an absolute nightmare for the T side. That has been a complete wipeout for the most part for Renegades.
He gets taken down as well, and now it is just down to Woxic. Things are looking great for RNG at the moment, but 3 players relatively low. There is an avenue that Woxic potentially could find this. The bomb on the floor is to find the timing as well to slip in towards CT spawn. If Inns did start to come back, he might be able to spot that one out. But you know, Renegades aren't going to be giving a duel over towards Woxic at the current time. Just trying to sniff out a bunch of these angles. Sicko hasn't spotted him just yet, but the rotation over towards A. Should be Inns cutting him off. Here's the footsteps.
Ooh, good raw adjustment. Not even a single point of damage, and Woxic's looking dangerous. Gonna get himself an open plant. You got the lurk through from Alistair, though.
You know, falling on backwards, not looking behind him. He does manage to do so, but there is that lurk from Ali to come out. A little bit of BM onto Woxic at the end. But the defuse will come through for Renegades.
Yeah, Eternal Fire, though. I mean, Calix has got 1,400, Woxic on the 1,300. It's only early days, so no loss bonus really to speak of. Getting some salvaged weapons out here for the Renegades. Picked up 2 of the rifles and a UMP. Every weapon that they can get in this stage is definitely going to help them out. And a pretty heads-up call early on. I mean, Eternal Fire, you were talking about how in the pistol and then in that anti-force there, they really wanted to utilize middle. Already Renegades kind of cottoning onto that. And yeah, these mid to B splits up against the pistols and angles like this, that's exactly why I was worried.
Certainly so. It does throw a spanner in the works for Eternal Fire, who do decide to go in for a bit of an interesting investment right now. Woxic's going to be keeping his money to get out an AWP potentially on the T side a little bit later, or just the late purchase, the late drop that wasn't communicated. So the Glils are in, the Tech-9s as well. Bit of B stairs creep on the cards.
Yep. Renegades just dumping that initial utility, wanting to try to control the map and stop any potential rushes in here. Go up close on the wood wall. Ported by Hats from the site.
Yeah, it is the calm before the storm once more, though. Can't even see a boost come out from Eternal Fire, but Hats with this AK. He's going to need to assist Sicko after he's only good 4-1. It is go time for Eternal Fire to get in towards the site. A bit of util still to come out. A nice grenade will make Imor and Calyx a little bit squishy up for the M4s. The assortment of weapons that Renegades do have, and a nice collection from Ins. Now Hats to come on through, and once again it's Woxic last alive, shut down by Alistair.
Yeah, great usage of utility from Renegades, just to be able to slow down that push until the rotations can come in. By the time Eternal Fire could actually start to make ground onto B and get just past that little entrance there towards that ROPS area, Renegades already had 3 people holding the choke, all fighting together. Hats buying time in the smoke, then Ins and Ali join up with them. Eternal Fire forced onto an eco. Renegades, considering how many slow starts they've had recently in games that have not gone well for them, it is comforting to see them convert the force buy and then convert the anti-force into an anti-eco now.
Yeah, we'll see what the pistols can do for Eternal Fire. Some damage will really impact the economy of Renegades, who haven't been able to build it up. Of course, CT-sided woes is something that we've seen throughout this conference stage. Really get the better of a number of teams. It's just going to be that prog util in the beginning from Renegades. And not really expecting to see anything too untoward, too ambitious come out from them either. They don't want to be giving an opportunity to Eternal Fire here.
Well, Eternal Fire just looking for damage, if anything, in a round like this. Money still hasn't built up just yet for Renegades, and Sicko, I was saying it again, it seems like he's been cleaned up in middle, having a tough time. Hats to anchor against 4.
Yeah, we'll see what he can do here. There's the first big hop on towards Calyx. That's the job done as well, but immediately traded out from Immor. The Glock. The plant wouldn't be too bad for Eternal Fire here at the moment. They will manage to do so, but that is going to be all she wrote. Ins with the last bullet in the chamber, getting the job done.
Yeah, should wait on the defuse. They're able to secure that 3rd rifle, and they take 3 rifles through, so definitely is the pass mark anti-eco. It's not fantastic, but it's better than losing, you know, 4 or 5 guns, or 3 or 4 guns rather. Got this gun round coming in for Eternal Fire though, and again that was pressure on middle. Really, it seems like they're trying to isolate whoever's playing middle and put a lot of pressure on that part of the map. We'll see if the objective starts to change a little bit more for Eternal Fire as we head into this first gun round, and they go towards some more sort of standard plays like that ramp control and the scaffold control, trying to put pressure over there.
Quick in toward this one for Immor in front of the util. Might have to wait for his teammates though to potentially get up on that boost to clear out Rafter. It's going to be Woxic to start off with the AWP. I wanted to mention that Ali had his as well. But now that him and Ins have fallen, things do start to get a little bit more awkward. The weight of the AWP being felt, but that will be shut down.
Yeah, very quickly going into a 3-on-5 there for Renegades. Going to have to start to make some plays, make some stuff happen. Hats is under a lot of pressure here, and on 7 HP, he's more than likely going to go down.
Yeah, the gap from Xflower, he has found it quite nicely, hasn't he? 1 and 2. That's just on toward Malta to see what he can do in the 1 versus 2 now. It is plausible that he can find it. He's got 50 HP, a molly, kit, could isolate one angle. It's going to go over towards default and flash in as well. Look at him onto water. Please don't fall off the map. You would hate to see that right now, but he does manage to get it out nicely. The isolated duel, he doesn't finish it. He falls in a little bit too early.
8 and 4. It's a classic, isn't it? When the player's not showing themselves to you, shooting in the back, you're getting some leg shots in there. Can't convert the kills sometimes. Must have gone through the wall. That was a big talking point of the A1S. The fact that at the longer ranges, you can actually complete some of those sprays a little bit easier due to the damage difference. But not that time. Unfortunate. Malta made the perfect read. The movement was on point. But, yeah, sometimes it'd be like that. Renegades Forced onto an eco now, and Eternal Fire straight back in the swing of things. Their money's still fragile though. Would be good to see a couple of kills come through, but not really a whole lot of firepower on this CT side.
Yeah, Ian's going to be boosted up here as well. Could provide a nice little opening frag. You can see that Imor's just being very cautious of it at the moment. And of course, Eternal Fire not seeing any util thrown down towards the A ramp. Does suggest that they know the eco should be here. Now it just comes down to making sure they're not walking into a stack.
Well, loving the way Eternal Fire is playing this. Methodical, working with the util. Forced to boost off.
Cheeky flashbang to behind the sandbags. HE grenade definitely would have hurt Malta here, but will Eternal Fire completely clear it? Again, it is just these pistols.
Sure, they're going to check him. Could be an opportunity for Malta. He's only got a USP though, but I think he wants to pop out and try and get a pick while they flood through the smoke. Ooh. And he's gotten two.
That's job done for Malta there, but now is where the T's do start to flood out on toward the site. They eventually will need to go for a plant as well. You've got 30 seconds to play with in that regard, but all of Renegades are here. Actually starting to peel away, making sure that they're not getting flanked from mid at the moment.
It's still difficult. I mean, it's still just two USPs and a Deke. Pretty unlikely Renegade's going to be able to put this together unless they're just hitting some insane shots. Hats in particular have come up huge, but he's isolated, taken out. Woxic looks like he's got this one under control. Easy as you like. 3k for the man on the site. Eternal Fire almost losing a couple too many guns. Only two from Malta, but these are the mistakes you don't want to be making. Got to make sure we're clearing the sandbags. Will cost them economically, but apart from that, Eternal Fire still in the driver's seat. Resettable for sure. Both teams still low on money. Both teams still haven't built up too much loss bonus, so it's really early days in this half at 3 apiece.
Yeah, very workable amount of utility for Renegades, at least scrounging together this purchase as well. All the A1Ss. The AWP in Alistair's hands once more. Don't fancy a little bit of the early challenge, but the standard util sets will keep things relatively quiet for the very beginnings. As Woxic does try to peel over the smoke, see if he can peek out for anything. It is more of a just going to shift towards the mids of the round for Eternal Fire. Let's wait patiently.
Slow pace for Eternal Fire, taking their time. Xfloud, as we often have seen in a couple different T sides, is on the wing. Trying to work that middle area. Flash is well placed, but Inns just sprays him straight through it. So a man disadvantage here for Eternal Fire. They are all kind of stacked up towards this ramp side. Start to make their way up there.
There's a good adjustment in mid as well. Inns assisting Sicko after they've lost that position a little bit too often. Molly goes in, but it's not going to do anything but disconnect the Eternal Fire players. Immor to find Malta, and this is really where Eternal Fire start to lay down the execute on toward the A site. Rebound as well.
They've evened it up 4 apiece. Boost up here for Inns. Find pick over the smoke. Bomb still not being put down, and that smoke on the left side getting close to be fading.
Yeah, flashes on in. No more util really to work around. There's smoke on Sicko. Big shot out from Inns on toward Woxic, and now it is the time for Renegades to go in toward the site. They do need to make sure that they get Inns on that bomb defuse. He is the one with the kit as well. It's going to come down to all these rifles of Eternal Fire, seeing if they can start to find out the kills. The smoke is on for Hats. He's actually going to go for the tap on toward it to bait out all of the Eternal Fire members. Shots going to start to come out as Hats manages to find him more. It's brilliant to come through from the Renegades as they do lock that down.
Very, very nicely done. Well controlled from Renegades. Eternal Fire, again, kind of facing some of those woes that we saw earlier on the Nuke game. It feels like sometimes on their T side, they're just taking a little bit too long to put the pieces together in the mid to late round. And that's another case of it where it just takes so long for them to get that bomb plant. They don't really get in comfortable post-plant positions. And Renegades, you got to give them credit on that retake. Good smoke coverage onto the bomb. They swarm in together. Either way, got a bit of a half bar coming out here for Eternal Fire. Calyx loves his SG armor force buy, doesn't he?
Certainly does. He's going to be one of the ones that are comfortable to kind of take a knee in a forward round if he can't quite afford a full rifle. Go down to the submachine guns, even the Galil with the utility. We'll see what he can do with the Krieg at the moment. A little boost up again. Hat's playing around the back girder. Might be providing himself up if he's not careful. That's info onto Sicko. He's been spotted out.
Such a dangerous boost with the SG, and he is actually able to tap Sicko away. Gee, picked up by Emor and pressure through middle. This is getting complicated. Luckily, Inns is locking down that jump up, but the site's been lost in the meanwhile.
Yeah, Emor going to go for the plant, get a little bit of extra cash potentially. It's going to be the fake, made out any presence of util or any quick assault from the Renegades. But the plant will start to go down as Woxic gets an AK in toward his hands. And now this is where things get a little bit interesting. A couple of snappy headshots come out from Eternal Fire. It could get awkward. There's one from Emor, making it a workable scenario for Woxic. This 1 versus 2 is stuck behind Rops, so how will he manage to navigate this one? Inns starting to creep on through. Alistair just to swing out the generator and find the kill.
Yeah, again, feels like Renegades are winning all the post-plant scenarios, but look, objective achieved for Eternal Fire. Not a whole lot of investment. That was like a half buy for them, and they take a whole bunch of guns away from Renegades and really hamstring their economy. Not to mention the fact they've got minimum loss bonus now, so 1400 when we're seeing a lot of these players quite broke at the moment is a dangerous sign. Eternal Fire now straight in with the reinvestment once again. AWP swapped over to Woxic. Wow. Nicely done from Alistair. Got to win that all too early on. Oh, the tag through the wall as well. He's always great with those wall bangs.
Yeah, one of the ones that comes to memory straight away for me. Of course, you know, being Renegades from OCE is the nuke wall bang from the ramp room down toward the lower ladder base. When that one came out, that was brilliant.
I think he was on order when he did that, was he not?
Potentially could have been, yeah.
Yeah. There's really not a whole lot of util here for Eternal Fire, so it's great that Calix over on the lurk side is getting a pick. Santaris just flashes himself through the smoke, and all of a sudden, a round that was going quite well for Renegades is quickly turning on its head, and that is just the firepower out of this Turkish side.
Certainly does open up for Eternal Fire now. They are starting to maneuver around to the B site. Sicko is here, of course. Hats has done some good work from it before, but taken down as well. Util starts to get set up for Eternal Fire to try and maximize what they can. Again, it is only a single smoke, so that is going to go on through. Sicko will call for assistance, takes the fight, loses that one. Inns and alley. Not even be on for a save right now.
Yeah, we'll see. Inns is going to invest his Molotov, see if he can go fishing and find anything with that. Alistair's up on the flank, and you can see Eternal Fire already reacting to that. Yeah. Alex has got it under control.
Plant starts to go down. Inns to creep on through. Finds the fight against Santaris. Again, another fight that he can find. He plays his angles correctly, but the fall on back does suggest at the moment that it might just be better to go for the save. No one on Eternal Fire is giving him the duel. Creep on up. Cloud still holding at the default line, and Calix on the AWP entry one.
Yep, swapping it out, picking up Ali's AWP after controlling that flank. And that's what I was talking about. 1400 loss bonus, and that's how much Sicko has. A lot of those Renegades players were very broken now, and unfortunately, as a side effect of that, that was a very quick shot. You are very broke across the team. In fact, double eco on one of your players. As a result, you're going to see them take a very, very passive save. Ooh, straight through middle. Passive in terms of the decision-making in the economy, not in terms of what's happening in the server. That's a very quick mop-up. All 5 taken through for Eternal Fire. And if I could push the fast-forward button on every eco like that, I probably would.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea. It's going to be bringing out the pause for Renegades as well. You know, as you mentioned, that double eco potential to come on through. You know, Sicko wants to get something proper happening in toward it, whilst the rest of the team can purchase. Back into the territory that Alistair can get out that AWP once again. Really influential with finding some opening picks. And then it does come down to a little bit of that negation on Eternal Fire, making sure they can't really just waltz through smokes. We've seen some great flashes to come on through, some individual jewels from Eternal Fire that they are extremely happy in taking.
Yeah, I mean, that's their game style, and that's what's worked quite well for them when they're finding success. Good performance across the board from pretty much everybody on Eternal Fire. You were asking for Inns to show up to this game, and so far so good. Having a good time of things.
Yeah,
It's worrisome though. Utility really not looking great on the Renegades. Only a couple of the lads really have full utility, so might be difficult if they're playing a bit more of a long drawn out round. His AWP duel over towards ramp every time has been great. Very back and forth between Woxic and Alistair so far.
Different deployment this time, however, across the map for the Renegades. Alistair is going to be playing the more passive angle at the sandbags. Malta to assist. He needs to surrounding Scaff.
Be careful. Santaris is on the prowl. Only a player who can just walk up and end this round if he's feeling it. Woxic is giving him some support as well, holding down some of these angles. The rest of Eternal Fire straight away in tow as well. The whole team sizing up that ramp control.
Yeah, the warning shots. Renegades starting to fall back toward the site as well. So some free real estate for Eternal Fire, but Malta wants to get back toward at the reposition in towards the sandbags.
There's no
again.
way he gets away with that again. There's no way.
Nah, they're mulling it this time. Oh, hang on. Yeah, there it is. The swing on out. He takes the tussle and he'll get a dink for his troubles, but that is now play for Eternal Fire to go in toward the site. The CT is completely forced on back, and again, it was that potential double eco to come in for them. Now they have to try and just wrestle to go in through. The bomb has been dropped, but likewise, Inns with a Famison and M4 A1S on the other side of the map. That has to be the save.
Yeah, most likely. And Eternal Fire really wrestling the last couple of rounds of this half away from Renegades. Their money is much stronger. They're looking more convincing in the duels.
Oh, that's not the way that you want the round to end either. If you were trying to go for a save, Calyx individually to take you down. Eternal Fire will take the lead. It's back toward that eco territory for the Renegades.
Yeah, and they've secured themselves a strong economy on this T side. They're probably good to buy for the rest of the half. As for Renegades, they're in struggle street. In terms of that money, really the objective moves to for them, trying to just scrape 6-7 rounds out of this half if they can, which is still not too bad.
Now, this is where you talk about your fast forward button again, isn't it? Just the Deagle for Inns, the USPs for the remainder of the Renegades. Yeah, a bit of a stack over towards B. So a little bit of that mid fancy as well.
Very controlled from Eternal Fire. They've been doing a good job on these anti-ecos, limiting the info, making sure they're clearing out all these important areas of the map so that they don't get flanked, they don't give Renegades some unfair advantage that they may need. And then moving in towards the mid to late round. By grouping up. Exactly what you want to see.
This is where it does start to go towards the B-side entry for Calyx. Hasn't been presented with Malta's location close to the wood wall, but he will manage to clear that out quite nicely. And now it is just the entry in toward the site. See what the USPs can do. It is going to be nothing. Although, I lie when I say that. Alistair manages to find X-Floud. But the recovery of that AK-47 will give him something to play with. The shots don't work out for him, but for Inns finding the dig on toward Woxic. Mentioned about the economy already being built up for Eternal Fire. Losing a couple of these guns doesn't really mean all too much. It'd be great if Inns could try and recover one here, but in more, we'll be taking him down.
Yep. So we look towards another buy for the Renegades. Going to be a much better one this time around. At least they're going to get A1S's, a couple of kits out, full util as well. It's super important. Renegades not too shabby with their utility on a lot of different maps. Inferno and Dust 2 come to mind, and this one as well. It's a single AWP again. Haven't really had the economy to go for the double AWP, and to be honest, early on in this game with the rifle, Sicko hasn't been doing a whole lot. Would be good to see him be able to afford that secondary AWP, but it just hasn't been an option so far. Renegades have just been broke time and time again.
Woxic, the self-sufficient flash and the peak above the smoke if possible. Definitely does want to take the fight against Alistair.
Again, they're just pressuring Sicko on middle. A lot of utility being utilized. Woxic in the meanwhile wins that ult duel in another critical round.
Well, the smoke providing some cover for Hats at the moment, but the creep up from Amor didn't expect him to be that far forward already, unfortunately, and it does translate into the two-player advantage for Eternal Fire. Need to see some heroics from CSGO around this B site, if possible, to help the round out. Malta is going to be at least good for 2 here, maybe a third, but with the grave being met, it is all down to the leader and ins.
Yep. They just can't keep leaving it on his shoulders time and time again. Keeps putting in a good effort in a lot of these 1vx situations, but can't reliably be able to convert them. Woxic's already on the hunt over here in the meanwhile.
Yeah. That's going to be the half over towards Eternal Fire. And by the looks of it, again, the CT side woes for Renegades. Economy does present maybe the hero M4. That's not even going to happen now moving into the round as Woxic will find ins. So into the 14th, it makes things all the more dire for Renegades.
Yeah, tough situation to be facing down. They're going to take attack timeout. Probably a half buy into a full investment in the next. Particularly when they're going down to these MP9s and Famous buys. It's just really not doing them any favors.
Yeah, again, the seesaw, you can see it after round 10, even going back to kind of start at round 6. It's definitely not where you want to be in this situation. Specifically, I guess it is your opponent's map pick, but coming in toward this Eternal Fire, already playing a series today, really showcasing that they are on for another spectacular series coming in toward this one. Good start on the T side already. Can go a long way. But as you do mention, half bite to come in for Renegades here. The pistols, a little light amount of utility to see what they can work with as well. But ultimately, it will be that rifle round in the next one that they will be at least providing themselves.
Yeah, I mean, any damage is pretty negligible at this point. Got to try and cause an upset with the pistols, if anything, to make the investment worth it. But Eternal Fire doing a great job. Anti-eco, they've been pretty infallible so far.
Oh, even the grenade on towards Alistair. It's blown. What that util I think he was trying to pick up there away, so things all the more awkward for him as well.
Got the shift back towards middle and B. There is still a little bit of pressure for Eternal Fire. It's keeping their options open, looking for picks. That's one thing where I feel like against a lot of the other teams, Eternal Fire are often looking for these picks, looking to try to punish people overextending. And I think, to be honest, they've been rewarded more for that here against the Renegades than they were earlier against Whistler. I feel like Whistler were playing quite a bit more disciplined. But I suppose that's to be expected based on, you know, the regions that these teams hail from.
30 seconds, another round that Eternal Fire are really letting bleed out. See what the This is going to be able to do now. Zentaris finds his third frag in the round. It's not going to be on for the ace, but it is a quick conclusion toward the rounds. Now we move into the last one of the half, and there is that purchase to come through from RNG.
Yeah, I'm keeping my eye out for the double AWP here. You got enough money for it, and CSGO is going to go for it. I feel like this is the only round where you're able to put that double AWP together. This is really one that you want to see Renegades pick up. Not only avoid that double-digit scoreline for Eternal Fire, but also now's the chance where you're finally able to play to your strengths a little bit more. Got to make the most of it.
Well, an AWP battle for Woxic once more against a new opponent that has been dislodged from mid time and time again, and he will manage to win this one, and CSGO will take that any day of the week.
I love the smallest of smiles. Just like he's been getting bullied in mid the whole half, and he's like, he gets the AWP, instantly gets a pick, and he's like, yes,
yeah,
I'm back in it.
Back in it indeed. An advantage for Renegades. It's been quite a while since we have seen this side. Usually it's the 5 versus 3s going over towards Eternal Fire, but with Hats finding xCloud, this is the round that Renegades were hoping to find. This is the one that they are looking to close out with right now. Calix and Imor, a little bit separated.
Yep. Not too surprising. Malta coming up big with a 2K though.
Now Calix for the 1 versus 5, see if you can get anything other than the 1. It's not going to be the case. Eternal Fire still will hold the lead here, 9-6 in their own map pick of Vertigo. Make sure you do stay tuned after this break to see how this one will be ending.
David's really good. Kingfisher, you know, as soon as he's come in, he's honestly like done so much for us, and it's like so good having an extra set of eyes, sort of from the outside to help the team within. He helps, you know, look at our opponents and what we need to be doing to play our best against them, and then also at the same time like focus on what we need to be doing better as a team to focus on ourselves and such. So I think he really covers all bases, and he's also learning as he goes as well. So it's like constantly improving, which is definitely something we need, I think.
Back to the 51st floor, we do go on Vertigo between Eternal Fire and Renegades, the first map in this elimination game. A big touching point to remember as well. 9-6, Eternal Fire do hold the lead, but Renegades still in it, that is for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Would be good to see them get off on the right foot here on this T-pistol and get that momentum going for themselves, because Eternal Fire, at least on an individual basis, looked like the much more competitive team that first half. Well, it still could go either way. There's control has been taken here by Renegades, but Calix looking disrupt, does spot out a couple of players, but it's just such an awkward shot to be lining up, and he loses his head.
Yeah, and that Ragdoll falling down all of those 51 floors as well certainly is a long journey to the grave. But the first opening pick for Renegades, you will certainly take that. No real utility invested in toward that as well, so they're creeping on around the map, back over towards the A side. But look at this from Imor. He's not going to be cleared. A one shot to come out. Alistair at least good for the quick reactions on the trade. Renegades still holding this player advantage. A nice dink on towards xCloud as he does look to retreat, but stuck behind the double stack. Still alive though, at least for now.
Yeah, Malta trying to keep him pinned in, while the rest of Renegades walking around the map as a unit. Going to go join up with Malta. Maybe has been communicated that Goosh has come out and they're feeling a little bit more confident about coming towards this side of the map. But no one told them that Woxic's in town.
And the shots are starting to come out from him as well. Only going to find one in the end. And now Renegades can look to establish a bomb plan. But with a single point in HB, xCloud still has the investment in towards the round. The 2 versus 2. Everybody surrounding the site. It's going to be the vulnerability for Renegades as the plant looks to go down. But a dink on towards Xantares. He is pushed by Hats, who will collect the 2 to close it.
It's a good pistol win. Would not be surprised to see the Force come out here for Eternal Fire and see them continue to contest. Bit surprised with the popularity of second round Forces continuing after the A1S buff, particularly on the CT side. But I guess that, you know, it's less about how attractive the weaponry is and more about just how the economy functions in this game and trying to fight for economy control while the loss bonus isn't built up yet. Malta taking Calyx out there right off the bat towards that stairs side. Those are the 2 players that really like to work that part of the map on both sides. So that'll be a bit of a head-to-head duel that we can keep an eye on.
It's going to be Immor this time with the scout overlooking the A ramp to see if he can find any damage. Woxic lurking about differently all the time being. We hear the scout echo get a tag on towards Alistair.
Renegades pumping the brakes in this 5-on-4. Trying to find some additional peaks from some of the CTs they can potentially punish, but as we're getting towards the minute mark, where some moves start to be made. Multiple fronts, Woxic with the aggression in towards middle. Renegades don't bite.
They certainly are utilising this time at the moment to try to clear everything that they can. The Flames will bring xCloud in. And within the smoke, you will meet Brave. Malta starting to open up the book in towards the site, and they are going to be lined straight in toward this one. Immor Xantares looking to see what they can do right now, getting shouldered out. Sicko on for the hunt as well. Very narrow focused on towards Immor, not expecting Xantares to be there. But it does look like with the MAC-10 retrieved, that will be the fall off for the round.
Yep. Mid Malta's where they buy guns. Getting the plant down nice and open on the B site. Should be all she wrote. In still keeping these players towards ramp side in check. Renegades want to see if they can get the icing on the cake at this point and just take the last couple of guns out of the hands of their opponents. But unfortunately, that's come back to bite them. Malta's given a freebie of a Galil over to Xantares as well as an extra $600. So definitely not ideal. And as such, Renegades doesn't look like they're proving any longer. They're going to go chill out for a bit.
Yep, that bomb. That will start to tick away as well. Yeah, definitely want to see these 3 players remain for the Renegade side as well. So, not on the hunt. We will see next round what Eternal Fire can do with these weapons taken over. Of course, they did go for that force up in this round. And with it not going their way, do they choose to put some investment behind what has been saved over? Definitely would be the discussion for them right now as well. We are within 1 round apiece. No economy really being completely built up as well. This is one of those rounds that if Renegades do manage to find it convincingly with everyone alive, they will start to build up something.
Yeah, and it's only early days. You know, it's a relatively close game so far, neck and neck. Every economic edge that you can take at this phase of the game is definitely going to help you out later. Layers of flashes up through the top side there for Renegades to try to get some space up into this B site. They found that entry and they're starting to scale, but all of the CTs are here. Yeah,
it's going to be a struggle for them to try and bully their way in this time, isn't it? The Flames over toward the plat will at least force Eternal Fire in toward the side as they do start to drop down and utilize the smokes of their own, but Renegades don't fancy themselves for this party. They want to retreat and leave. xCloud going to be finding ins in the meanwhile. And already, Eternal Fire, they've rotated over towards A.
Yeah, kind of on top of things right now. Some panic in the camp of Renegades. They really don't have very much utility to work with at all. Only smoke they had access to utilize to try to get across to the site, maybe try to get this bomb down.
They will go for the fake plant at the moment just to provide the opportunity for the shots, but it's going to be Xantares with that Galil taken over from the previous round that is certainly assisting the case for Eternal Fire right now. Malta no HP to work with either, and Woxic will close.
Yep, and that is classic Renegades. Getting eco'd in a round like that, that is just not something that you can afford. This is the elimination game here in the conference. You know, Renegades at one point in our home region, we might have said it is a foregone conclusion. They go straight through into EPL groups. But unfortunately, they find themselves in the conference and they're in the lower bracket against a very solid team. Cannot be affording to get ecoed in that kind of scenario. And as such, seeing a strong money for the CT side. We're seeing a force out of Renegades with only 3 really workable weapons. Gonna have to try to make it work.
Yeah, well, the utility going over towards the bottom of the scaffolding. Has to take the fight against him more. Xantares to also try and retaliate with a little bit of utility. Might overstay his welcome if he gets a little bit too hungry for this one, but nice clearing out on toward Hats will equalize on the 4-4, and it's definitely is favoring Eternal Fire.
Yep. Freebie given over. One of the pistolers trying to go recover that weapon, and Alistair will get his hands on it. Just really not a whole lot of util left, though. One flash to try to get through the rest of this round. There is enough util for an execute. Plenty of smokes, but going to be hard to contest some of these angles.
Well, silence in toward the site at the moment. Xantares, X-Floud, trying to see what they can do to clear out the choke points in toward the site itself. Only on that assistive variety of util, smokes and flashes available for Eternal Fire. They're going to have to try and utilize them now, navigate around as Renegades start to come in. Xantares trying to laser out with the M4. A couple of kills do happen. It's Sicko to take out his teammate in Malta accidentally, and now it's Ins for the 1 versus 4 turned 3. 30 seconds to try and play with the bomb on the site as well, and just is quite difficult here.
No doubt. Trying to do that angle isolation. Let's find Xantares. Getting a bit cheeky, jumping up on top of the boxes. Calix is the only player anywhere near him at that point, but still is good enough to spam him through the smoke off the back of the sound queue. Even if Calix couldn't clean it up, you had the slow flank coming in. And that is a nightmare situation for Renegades. They lose the anti-eco, lose the subsequent force buy, and are now in the territory of under 2k across the board, 2.4 on the loss bonus, which means that no AWP, no full util buy heading into the next. What could have been a very solid position and a 9-9 scoreline is completely flipped on its head, and they've made their life about 10 times harder.
Yeah, certainly so. It's a recovery that they, I'll admit, they've seen themselves in before. This time in the elimination state, that makes it all the more dire that you need to make sure you are putting yourselves in the better positions to try to win out a lot of the duels. The Glock's certainly an unfavorable circumstance right now. For Eternal Fire, they'll be keeping their distance. They don't need to get up close and personal in the Renegades business. But as I say that, Inns has something to say. That Deeg providing at least a frag on towards Calix. The overwhelming forces on toward X-Floud as well. So some damage delivered out by the little lesser sidearms from Renegades.
Yep. They're able to get across to the side as well. Get their hands on a couple of rifles, but they're armorless and utilities being laid in. Bit of a lineup there. A couple more headshots in there for Hats, and maybe we're talking about something being put together, but woulda, shoulda, coulda. 3 alive for Eternal Fire. Good CT money. Quite stable, but they've reduced their loss bonus after picking up a couple of rounds. So Renegade's objective now moves to 2 gun rounds in a row. If they secure that, they can break the CT economy and even up this scoreline and try to get back to the position that they had before.
Yeah, utility to throw on down for a full execute if they do want to, but it's going to be that spread out play from them at the moment. They're going to tempt fate with Woxic over into mid. He's actually getting right timed on toward this boost as well, but he doesn't look to go too far forward with it, calling for X-Floud for a bit of a boost of their own.
I think they might have heard that drop down there in towards middle, but X-Floud is looking to set him up with a flash, perhaps. Oh, he's just holding the lower line. Gonna leave Woxic there. Meanwhile, Renegade's starting to work the ramp control, boosting up above the smoke. I put Inns on the line. Xantares just spotting things out right now. Eternal Fire, they're still sitting on so much util as we head in towards the later parts of this round. That could be really troublesome if Renegades try to force their way up into some of these critical junctures and parts of the map.
Lots of these incendiaries at the moment. Certainly will put a stopper on what Renegades can do, and now that they have lost Alistair as well, it's a little bit more difficult for them. 40 seconds to go. Through the smoke they do endeavour, but there's those flames to meet them.
So cheeky from Emor. Creeping behind the flames, and actually he loses himself. Inns is going to get a pick as well. Eternal Fire, they were in a good position, but they've gotten a little bit too cheeky over towards ramp there, and they've lost the picks. Renegades now have control of the site, and they can try to put this bomb down.
Oh, there's 2 HE grenades for Eternal Fire right now. They're going to be waiting for the bomb plant tap, and it has been baited out. A little bit too early on the nades, however, will allow Sicko to get that plant down on toward the floor. The player advantage for Renegades, but Sicko will meet the grave, and now things do get a little bit more dicey for them. A smoke or Calyx can be thrown onto the bomb. On toward the side hole is going to be the location of choice. However, they do have the kits, of course, to be able to play with. Now, this is where the fights will start to be fought. Straight on in toward the side. Hat seen at the sandbags as well. Manages to find one, but the CC is still keeping it relatively honest. And now it's on to Hats against Woxic to see. Well, the charge coming on up. The time is not assisting Woxic here, and it should be the round out for Renegades. And Hats will indeed close it out with the 4K as well.
Yeah, I got to say, I don't think the stats have really done Hats justice in this event. I feel like he's been a lot more switched on and a bit more back to his old self that I remember earlier days of Order, where he's just that aggressive rifler back in our domestic region that was quite dominant. Seeing the flashes of that real sharpness and ability to play angles very well, and that clutch was picture perfect from him to secure that round. One of two that Renegades will need. The money's already a bit shaky for Eternal Fire already, but the AWP on Woxic is the scariest part of this buy.
Hunt's going to be opening up the B site on towards Imor. The spot out on towards Calyx earlier as well. The hunt is on. Flashbangs are not helping Hunt in this regard. Calyx goes straight toward his crosshairs, but there's that AWP from Woxic. And now it might need to be the thing that Eternal Fire are going to be reliant upon for the remainder of this round. But they immediately are booking it out. They don't really have too much investment to work with from here.
It's huge from Hats. You love to see it. Closes out that previous gun round and opens up this one. It's having a whole lot of impact for the Renegades and keeping them in this game. Good news for Eternal Fire, though, is they put themselves in a good enough position to start stacking up this loss bonus. They're going to save over a couple of these guns. So look, even if the next round isn't looking so great for them, as Renegades close this scoreline, they're going to have a little bit more economic freedom and much scarier buys to lean back on as the scorelines get closer, and we also get closer to the end of this game.
Yeah, well, Renegades are giving Eternal Fire the save at the moment as well, because they don't have the greatest money behind themselves. Want to make sure that they are thinking of the future as well, in case they do have to drop a couple of players here and there in these rounds. But double digits is achieved, so starting to encroach once more onto the scoreline of Eternal Fire. The FAMAS, the AWP, it could drop over something very light toward the remainder of Eternal Fire, but in taking the knee in this one, they will at least allow that purchase later on.
Still a dangerous buy for Renegades to navigate their way through. AWP available. That's the main thing that you're a bit scared of. Woxic is very deep in towards middle, but not really given anything to work with. Renegades layering the utility. Molotovs being extended. Be able to secure that map control with a little bit less risk. But speaking of which, that creep down the ladder, the Zeus in the close quarters, and Woxic moving back over towards this A side of the map are all things that worry me deeply.
Yeah, certainly is. Xcloud can get a very quick flank happening here, and with that, FAMAS can take out a couple of players. It's a cheeky set of util to come out for Renegades, though. Puts Woxic off the line, softens up Zamparis as well, and now Woxic does start the assault onto the side. The Zeus missing its mark, unfortunately. Woxic still giving it a right old go with this AWP. Renegades, they do get a little bit of a grasp, but back on toward this one. The flank from Xcloud now starting to come on out. Inns will shut that down. And Calyx might just want to take the AWP into the next one.
For sure. That got so dicey, though. Imor's a bit hard done by there. He connects with the Zeus, but doesn't do 100 at all ranges.
An interesting thing, that. Interesting design.
Well, it's big that you get this AWP taken over, because the money is still at the point where you got a bunch of players sitting below 2K. That's more so the A1S armor kind of territory. So an AWP is absolute gold right now. This is sneaking around, though.
I know that that is the gun that is being saved at the moment. If they can
Ooh,
remove
knife.
it, makes it a little bit better.
Knife. Hey, there you
More
go.
money too, and the AWP over for Ali. Love to see it.
Beautiful. That's a big money swing. 4.7 for the AWP, an extra 1,500 for the knife. That's value right there. And Renegades, they made it right. They made it right, okay? We lost the anti-eco. That was painful, but also classic. But now in this position at 11-12, with strong money, an AWP to work with, and a much better buy than Eternal Fire have access to with that pretty limited util. This is where Renegades, in a much slower round, a bit more of a drawn-out one, can leverage his utility advantage as well as the AWP to potentially win it. That almost goes down right off the bat, though. Great pre-fire through the smoke and the scaffold from Immort.
Situation if Renegades get the bomb plant down 2, there's no kits provided by Eternal Fire, so those 5 seconds going to have to be translated quickly into water retake for them as well. It's going to be back towards Sicko's home territory in mid, though on the flip side this time, then he will be looking to clear out.
Yeah, these are the kind of plays you need to make with this kind of buy. Another great chip damage in from Eternal Fire. Need to follow up. Almost cleans up 2 players. It was just a little bit more to the left, but the box obviously would have stopped it at that point. Eternal Fire playing so disruptive, giving Renegades plenty of pause for thought, but as we're getting towards the 50-second mark, the T's need to get a wriggle on and decide exactly what it is they want to be doing. It's a group up towards ramp, still plenty of utility to work with. All it takes is one slip up and a big play from one of these riflers.
Yeah, Malta and In's going to try and do what they can to bring over the forces of the CTs to this B site. The dodging of the flash, but the utility peppering out. This is where the M4 does start to make things look good for Calix. Finalizing the frag onto Woxic, but look at what the utility has done. And it has extremely drawn over the rotation. Immor falls over at the A site, and now they can look to establish a plan.
Yeah, and this is where they're throwing the utility that it gives them a bit more control of the site. Xantares doesn't respect that at all. You get the swing from heaven as well. And Eternal Fire get that one done. Lovely stuff from them. All the chip damage since the start of the round off of very, very solid utility. They didn't have a lot to work with in that round, but what they did have, they used greatly. Getting great value off of a couple of grenades and just some aggressive positioning with the rifles.
And now they have to go at it again in a pretty similar purchase from both sides for sure. Got the kits there for Eternal Fire this time, but X-Cloud down on toward the Famous. No AWP for Woxic to be able to leverage, whilst Alistair still does have his. It's a quick boost out mid for Woxic though, which might be catching Sicko off guard if he does look to swing on out.
It's a really important round for both teams. Close scoreline, both of them with very little cash or loss bonus. So whoever loses this round is going to be broke, and if that's Renegades, then I'd say that's getting pretty close to the end of the game.
Yeah, well, an AWP, very close proximity, does not bode well. Alistair will be falling. Hats there for the immediate trade. The util game does start to dwindle for both of these sides. Renegades will still have access to a lot of those smokes to be able to at least block some vision. It's cheeky little underside one way that Xantares can play with, as Hats does elevate himself out. Just needs to be careful he isn't seen through it.
Yep, that's the fading smoke, favoring the player sitting inside of it. X-Cloud only on the Famous, does clean up ins, and he's trying to buy time for more rotations. He's going to multi-frag from that position.
Oh, that's real rough for Renegades now. Vulnerable when they do go for the plant, but it's allowed to happen. Bit of a two-dimensional retake available for Eternal Fire as well. Through the elevators, it is going to be Calix. That Hat's not under looking himself. It's going to be him falling from below, and now Malta with a 1 versus 3. Has managed to slip the net a little bit, but how much discipline does he have? There's the first one. Safeguard on the smoke, not going to be deployed. Tries starting to tick away. The shouldering on out. Tries to at least isolate one angle, but it doesn't happen.
See Malta anticipating the Molotov there. Over towards that side of Secret. He's trying to put that out very quickly and continue contesting, but misjudges the timing of it. Very winnable round for the Renegades, but unable to convert it, and Eternal Fire pick up another one. That gives them 14. They didn't win it with a lot of guns surviving, so their money is still a little bit shaky, and they don't have any loss bonus to play with, but they'll be happy with that 14-11 lead. Ooh, the buy in this situation. This is like the Hail Mary play out of Renegades. Galils and Armor with limited util. They're going to try to make that work because they know there's potential to hard reset Eternal Fire's economy here. You look at the money on some of these players, they're completely broke. Woxic, even with 1,700, he would be the richest of them, and if they lose this round, he will have 3K. The rest of them will be down like 1,400, 2K, something like that. So this is a big play for Renegades to try to get back into it, but if it doesn't work, that's the game done.
And of course, from our armchair position, we can see all of the numbers, but unfortunately for Renegades, they cannot. A big meaty grenade onto wood ins to start off as well. If there was a second one, that would finish it up. Malta going to be boosted up onto the wood wall. He manages to get over and slip toward Cubby. Could be pretty powerful.
Yep. I mean, these are the kind of positions you want to be in on low util buys. Need to make something gimmicky work for you. You can't use that util to scale up the stairs onto the site. Malta really just trying to find one of these CTs, find a pick to create some rotations and some space for Renegades to find somewhere else on the other side of the map.
Well, starting to clear what he can. It's going to come down to the timing for him. If Renegades can pull the CTs away from the B side as well, it would give him a little bit of space to be able to play with and try to bide the space for Renegades to move back over towards B.
They're just running out of time. They haven't been fed any picks. Zico going to come back towards the stairs as well. They're going to use Malta as an entry.
Oh, they've got a single flash to be able to try and do so, though. Alistair with that little bit of util, and now xCloud, Calyx, are they going to be able to lock it down and make things more awkward for Renegades? It's certainly looking so with Calyx and xCloud finding something. Woxic's now here for the party as well, and this is definitely not looking well for Renegades whatsoever. The purchase that they've forced in with nets nothing.
Just didn't have any util. Just that one flash thrown up, and I'm pretty sure both players just turned from it and mopped Renegades up on the cross. So Eternal Fire, well-earned map point here. They've been pretty solid this game so far. Let's see if they can close it. They got a great opportunity to do it. A much better buy, much better utility, and a better economy. Everything favors them here.
Standard set of util to come down. Over towards the ramp. It's Woxic boosted up early again. He's going to be rewarded because of it. Fall back. Zico can't find the timing to try and catch him on the fall back. And with that back 10, it's not the greatest weapon that you do want. Now the remainder of the Renegade squad going out toward the B stairs. Calyx to find Malta. And again, it's just a round that really is not going Renegade's way. Ins Alistair to see if they can get a little bit of a salvage. Make the stats potentially look a little bit better. But from here on out, Alistair, the Mac 10, a 1 versus 5. That's pretty much impossible, unfortunately. Jump down from Calyx on Alistair, and that will be the ending of that one. 16 found for Eternal Fire. They take their own map pick in Vertigo. We look again to throw it to a break. And